Welcome to Witches of Three.
Speak free. Speak free. Talking about witches. Talking about
Free.
Talking about witches, talking about love and shit, I guess.
Talking about magic, spells,
Yeah.
Talking about
astrology.
magic.
Yeah.
Lots of air power.
Air. We're putting it in the air. Recently, or like really in the past year, is a lot of people coming asking about love.
We have a lot of questions on our Ask FM. What's wrong with love spells? Why can't I do love spells? So instead of answering that, all those questions on the Ask FM, we're going to do a little just kind of general on love spells, and then we'll talk about astrology a little bit. This episode is about Ask FMs that are a little bit too big to just answer in the Ask FM, so we're going to do kind of two parts, the love spells, and then we'll talk astrology. Shanna, why are love spells bad?
So, as a root worker, love spells are probably like one of the most common things I get asked to do. And in the beginning of my journey, I was not necessarily opposed to it, even though it wasn't always something that I stepped away from. But I did do a love spell for somebody, and doing a love spell for someone else
I remember this.
is totally different from doing it from yourself. So this woman came to me, paid my fee to do a love spell. I did the love spell for her. I opened her up for love. She didn't have a specific target. She just wanted to be open to love. But then, like, everything came to her. Everything.
All the love.
All the love. Like, she was, like, getting messages from people from high school and all this stuff. But she didn't feel anything from any of those people. Well, eventually, it was a Saturday night, and I have this dream of her in a gas station. And this man walking by her.
Puff, puff, give, bitch.
Several times this man walks by her. And, you know, she just keeps missing him. And that was the whole dream. He was a very well-dressed man. She comes in to see me the following Tuesday and says, I've met this man, and I want to talk to you about it. So she comes in, and she tells me she literally has met this man at the gas station 3 times. And he invited her to a Muslim meet and greet. And she's not a Muslim, but she was very attracted to the man. And she was open. So she goes to the meet and greet. They spend the whole time there Saturday. They talk on the phone all night Saturday night. By Sunday, they're in love. And she is so enthralled with this man, she believes that she needs to marry him. So the Wednesday, they come into the shop. She brings him to meet me. She brings him to meet me.
And this is true.
And he was in love with her.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, I had to tell her, I was just like, this might just be the spell. You know, like, you need to make sure that this is what you want at your core. Yes, this is what I want at my core. Thursday, they come in and ask me to marry them. Shaking the table. I was, like, not really down for this. I was just like, okay, I'm not really sure if that's what we should do right away, but, you know, to each their own, you know, energetic freedom. So I marry her. I marry her and this man. I married them in a place that's totally illegal to marry them. Like, it was rogue as fuck. We're, like, jumping in.
This is how we do shit.
Trying to get married. Like, I married them. Like,
Before anyone shows up.
Beautiful ceremony. I brought my witch's broom.
In and out.
I jumped my broom. And they got married. Everything was peaches and king for 2 weeks. Then she sends me a message and says, he robbed me. He cleared my bank account. He mortgaged my house. He stole my car. He took all my jewelry. So, here is my cautionary tale. You can do love work. Mm-hmm. You really can. But it is not always going to bring, love doesn't always mean forever. Love doesn't always mean that it's going to be good for you, because love can be fleeting.
Yeah, I think love spells are a perfect example of showing how we don't really fully grasp what love is.
Or the power of magic.
And the power of magic. I think it really shows what this society is built, like instant gratification, because when my experience with love spells is you get something, but you don't get what you thought you were going to get.
Yeah.
But you get love.
You get what you need. That's the thing, is that you get what you need, but you don't understand that you get what you need until it fucking kicks you in the ass.
And truth be told, this was great because about 6 months later, she messaged me and she was just like, I don't blame you, because I was feeling all this guilt. Like, I was just like, I put all this you know what I mean? I did a 7-day spell for her. You know, I was feeling, I was like questioning what I was doing, whether I should be doing it or not. But she told me, she's like, what it did was teach me the lesson. The lesson was just because I had done all this work that I thought I was ready for love.
Right.
I didn't love myself enough to recognize what real love is. So now all of the love work that I do is centered around building yourself up to be open and be willing for attraction, to be willing for to engage, be willing to give of yourself and receive at the same time.
This is the great thing about witchcraft, is like, you don't have to be in this little box. You don't have to just, I think like there's just these things that we think we need to do. Oh, this is a love spell. Why don't we just kind of open our mind a little bit? What's going on that makes you want that love spell?
Right.
Like, what's going on within you that makes you want a love spell? Why don't we just make it, why don't you do a spell to where you don't want to do a love spell?
You shouldn't
or something
need
like
it.
that. Like,
right.
if you think you want a love spell, try to take a step back and see what that actually, it really entails. You know, like, what are you really needing? And I think...
ask the spell for yourself.
That's
what is it that you need?
Because the idea is, like, witches, we can manipulate energy. We can, that's what we do. And we can make it speed up, or we can do this and that. But the idea is just, you know, it's just, you need to open that perspective, because sometimes just in the type of world we live in, we have these very boxed in ideas of certain ideals, and the magic world and those definitions are just so much broader and so much bigger. So if you want to do a spell for a certain thing like love or abundance, you really need to take a step back and realize what those words really mean. Like, abundance isn't just money.
No.
Abundance is everything.
You can get an abundance of shit.
Love is just not... yes. And love is not just romantic. And the Greeks had 8 different words for love. There's so many different words. And so that's what you need to understand. If you're really driven toward, I think, towards like one thing, take a step back, maybe come visit us at Spirit Works, get a different perspective. What is really going on?
Why are you trying to manifest this?
You really want is relationship, right? Or intimacy, or those things. Like, you have to really, those words are so broad, it's breaking them down. And that's what I've learned over time.
Love is so big.
Yes, like, you know, maybe you just want sex. And hey, if you just want sex, we got your shit.
Or maybe you just want connection.
Yeah. Maybe you just want someone to read books with or go to movies. Yeah. Intimacy. Intimacy is different.
It's connection.
It's about being open. So if you still have traumas that you haven't worked through in love, you're not going to get the love that you really need. You're going to get the love that you know how to receive.
Yep.
That's different.
Yep.
That's
absolutely.
different. That's muscle memory. And that's why this client of mine now is fantastic. Also not married yet. Divorced now. Not married. But is developing her own psychological practice. She's a nurse. And she wants to deal with feminine psychology. Like, she really, after this instance, really learned something about herself and is really developing a new practice. She'll probably be a love coach eventually. So doing that work doesn't make you a bad person. Just know that the ramifications of it could possibly not what you want.
Yeah.
I haven't yet to see a foolproof love spell.
I think what I try to tell the people is, we are in this 3D world. We are these things, and we don't completely understand what love means in this world and in the spiritual world.
Yeah.
So it is so hard to contain and manage that energy in a spell, because love in the spirit world is so vast and completely different to the love that we're taught in, like, this human physical world. And honestly, like I said, the ancient Greeks, they understood that there was a certain love for friendship that was amazingly close, or like we don't talk like that in America now. There's just love. And what does that mean?
It's a heart.
I love you two so fucking much.
Right.
And I mean, I may have wanted to bone you a couple of times. But no, seriously. Like, but this is a love that is not really described in our understanding of love.
It's not.
You know, like there are friends love. There are all
animals
sorts of
and
different
plants.
Yes.
You know, like some people
love is too vast.
It's just too big. It's the thing that we all need to access at all times, which is why the products that we create now are much more about collective love or self-love or working on your inner child, working
because
on those
once
things.
you have that self or collective love, you much more understand what love is and then what you're missing. Once you have these certain abilities, you can then understand what is exactly you're missing. Because love is so huge. Love is just, it's too big. Even though America tries to make it very small and just romantic, that's not what love is, especially in the spiritual world. Love is how spirits actually connect and talk. That's their language. So when you do a love spell, you're going to have no idea what you're going to get because it's just so vast and so powerful. It in itself is its own magic.
Yeah.
So, and when you do manifestation work, you have to be specific. And love is just not specific enough because it's just so broad. It's just so broad.
I always get the question about the practical magic, where she like writes the letter, you know,
yes.
you know, and then
yes.
like, can I do that? Yes, you can. That's not necessarily outside the box. That's actually the magic I want you to do.
Yeah.
I want you to really take the time, do your divination, work on your dreams, look at your flowers, look at your children, because I know a lot of the women that are coming to me are single mothers.
Yeah.
And I understand was a single mother, understanding what that's like.
Yeah.
But if you really develop you and the things that you really love, and that's your magic. If you're here with us, you're developing your magic. I promise you that love comes.
Yes.
It comes, whether you want it or not. You know, Kyla was not looking for Sean. Sean came. I wasn't looking for Noelle, and she fucking dropped on my doorstep like 10 bricks.
Yeah.
And I fought it. You know, I fought it.
These girls had to tell me to not be stupid with Sean.
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like, and that's just like, that's our root. Like, we don't want to get our heart broken.
But also,
we're afraid. We have fear.
But think about this. Like, do you feel like when you were met with real love, you didn't know what to do?
I still struggle with it.
Because, like, I thought I knew what love was, but then I saw someone, and then it was like, oh, shit, I don't know what this is. I'm backing the fuck up. And that's what I think is what we're talking about with magic work. We have an idea of what love is, but it's
all-encompassing.
It's all-encompassing, and we don't really talk about
And then we set expectations on top of it, which is why the spell work doesn't work. Because your expectation of what you're manifesting is different than what you're actually putting the work in for.
Yeah.
Right? So, you know, if you're looking for a tall, dark, handsome job, you know, whatever, red car, whatever the thing is that you're looking for, you're totally missing all the other opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be specific in this magic, but being specific limits you.
Yeah.
So this is why we all often say doing love spells is not necessarily something most of us should do. If you're 65 years old and in an old folks home and just needing something, like maybe do a love spell because, you know what I mean, Jimmy that lives next door might be your man.
We
But
just want to acknowledge that most people just don't get what they normally expect because
they don't.
We don't.
Never. I've never seen it. Never seen it.
We as humans really don't grasp what love is completely. And I think you just need to keep that in mind. When you're manifesting, that stuff you really need to be specific on. And when you say love, that could be a closer relationship with your mom. That could be a closer relationship with your coworker.
Work on that.
But like if you work on that stuff, the other stuff just comes. I know I don't want to be that Hallmark stupid bitch, but I am that person that says once you start working on yourself and not worrying about that other thing, it just happens. It comes. You know, the universe is a tricky dicky bitch like that. Like she just, you know, she just is.
What was it?
Any more about love spells, or I'm going to get on to Mercury retrograde?
I want you to talk about Mercury now.
All right, so
we're in full swing now.
We're in full swing. So this other part is we got a lot of questions about Mercury retrograde coming up, and the fact that February is going to be an astrology phenomenon, with the fact that we're going to have 7 planets and an asteroid in Aquarius. So let me hit some things real quick for the rest of this episode. So Mercury retrograde from January 30th to February 20th. there's going to be a shadow period afterwards. So if you still feel effects for the rest of February to the beginning of March, don't fret. There's always, these planets are big. There's a lot of energy that takes a lot of time. So I also want to bring up that retrograde. A lot of astrologers, they've used it and they kind of made it for clout, kind of making it this bad thing. And I want you to know, if you're watching Witches of Three and you're on this path, retrograde are really powerful times.
Yeah.
They are amazing for witches. It's just really hard because capitalist societies don't allow for retrograde periods. They don't allow for breaks. Reflection. It's all about going forward continually. Retrograde in Latin means a step back. It just literally means that this is a really good time in your life to reflect on everything that you've been working on. In retrograde, I want you to remember the R's. And you'll read different articles that say the 5 R's, the 3 R's. Any R word is good for retrograde. Remember, reflect, revisit, reconnect, renegotiate, anything like that. It's always revisiting, going back towards. You want to work and finish on old stuff. We also kind of have a problem with retrograde because usually around this time we get pop-ups from the past, whether they be people or memories and dreams. Our past starts coming up.
Yep.
And again, what we were talking about with the love spells, perspective is everything. Don't think of these as stumbling blocks from the universe. Think of it as them sending you a chance to heal. Yeah. This is a chance to resolve
this. This is where you need to work.
Yes.
This is where you need to work. When those messages come through, the struggle, that's where you need to work.
And this is, especially this time, Mercury in Aquarius, it's really going to be about our community, our surroundings, the humanitarian involvements with, are the people that you're with, are they on the same message? Yeah. Are they really your friends?
Who are we as a community?
Who are we as a community? All that stuff.
And just knowing it.
Yeah.
Just knowing it. I know each one of us has experienced something in the past few days which really has led us to, really understanding, what it is we want, what we want for our community, what we want for the collective, what we want to do going forward. This is the time where you really sit still.
And you can look at it as a bad thing, but if you just take that power back and that perspective and it's oh no, this universe is letting me know that this person isn't on my team.
Yep.
Perspective can be everything with this. It's just, oh, damn it, that universe brought that bitch to me again. No. There was an opportunity for you to say something that you didn't say before.
Right.
Or to do, this is an opportunity to look back and reflect and heal. Witches use retrogrades. This is our power. Most of you witches have a whole bunch of planets in retrograde on your natal chart. That's why you're here. Bitches are able to reflect and see and then move forward and heal from it. That's the point of it. So, I know it's kind of crazy and it can be weird. So just remember all your R's, revisit, negotiate. So don't start new projects. Just work on kind of finishing others.
Finish what you start.
And also just everything, just take another breath. Just relook at everything.
Try not to get caught up in the tripwire.
Yeah.
Okay? Because the tripwire is there to make you stop. I always tell people, I try to do this with myself with road rage. When I get all the red lights, I'm just maybe that red light is protecting me from getting in a car accident at the next intersection.
Those little times that you can switch.
Yes.
You don't know.
If you can turn that over every time,
so powerful.
I always have the dropsies this time of year. I break shit. I'm going to break shit.
Yes.
If you have fancy china, do not give it to me because I'm going to break it. Okay? I'm going to hit the curb.
Yeah.
I probably get new tires during every fucking retrograde because I'm a curb hitter. Just if you know those things, you can anticipate and not give yourself the anxiety because that's where we stop.
Yes.
That's where we start to go in the other direction of reflection. We start to go back and do the traumas. And we really just need to sit still.
Yeah.
Sit still. Clean out your fucking drawers. Cleaning out your junk drawer is probably the most cathartic thing that you can do during Mercury retrograde.
Absolutely.
It will clear your whole mind.
Your house in order.
I know you don't want to look at those things and feel those memories, but this is the time to do that. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, dig through the attic, go through your memory box, look at your yearbook. I don't know, but figure out ways to go back to those times and figure out why they're still holding on to them.
Yeah.
This is when we release.
Yes.
This is like a big fucking full moon.
Yes. Yeah, it is. It's a huge full moon. I've gotten a lot of questions on the Ask FM since a lot of people get their W-2s during this time. Can they do their taxes? It's actually a perfect time to do your taxes because it's
The past.
Yeah.
But you do want to be mindful how you send it. We need to double check. We need to double check everything.
If you're going to
Make
electronically file,
Yes.
I would wait till after retrograde.
Back up everything all the time.
Back up.
Make sure you sign it. Like everything. Don't just like do it.
Be
and
mindful.
Send it. Just
File
be
it on
mindful.
paper.
Be mindful.
Honestly, if you need to file it before retrograde is over, file it on paper.
So, and I've gotten a lot of questions that's like, oh, I'm doing taxes. We're probably going to get our stimulus. I'm going to make big decisions and all that stuff. And I want to express again, we're not teaching you astrology to like not do your life. These are tools and ways to access and use that energy. If you have stuff to do, we're just telling you to be super careful and aware at this time. I am not telling you to
Do it.
not do that.
Right.
If your
right.
dishwasher
Right.
is broken, we're not saying
Fix it.
you can't buy the dishwasher, but make
Yes.
sure that you read the fine print when you buy that
Yes.
dishwasher.
Yes.
Just, you know what I mean? Like, do your homework. You have to take time and step back. Don't do anything hastily.
Yes.
I guess that's it.
Yes, that's all we're saying. Is
Especially if you're a fire sign, we
Yeah.
all want to do things quickly. Just
fire
stop.
signs always have to really watch
Stop.
out.
You have to watch out in
Take a step
retrograde.
back.
Step
Yes.
back. Especially if
Yes.
it's your rising. Just so
Yes.
you know, especially if it's your rising.
And also, this retrograde is going to hit the air signs really hard. All the retrogrades in 2021 are in air signs. And if you're following what's going on politically, that just really fits because we are going to reflect. And it starts first with Aquarius, our community, our friends, because before we go forward and do work, we've got to have our support.
Yes.
We've got to have our people. I've been getting lots of comments from everyone. They're having problems with their friends. They're having disagreements. They're realizing that people aren't who they are. With COVID, some people aren't checking on people and they're shutting down and doing all this stuff. Don't worry about what everyone else is doing. I want you to first understand everyone's in their root and don't take anything personally. We're starting an Empowering Goddess group again virtually, and we are going to read the 4 agreements, which I suggest everyone do right now.
Yeah.
I always suggested everyone do it, but right now,
It's really
everyone has to do it.
I just pulled mine
And
out
just
the
go back,
library.
seriously.
Go
the
back.
4 agreements will change your life. It's not a witch book. It's not that. It is just something that is just amazing.
It's a perspective
And-
shift.
Yes, this
Yep.
is,
We'll get you through this.
I'm a big proponent of you just got to change that perspective a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah.
And I know sometimes it's super hard, and I want you to understand that. I understand that, but like
We get it.
perspective shift is everything. And so you really need to join this group with Empowering Goddesses and read the 4 agreements, because like while you are finding out who is your team and stuff, don't take it personal if they're not on your team.
Yeah.
We are going through a crazy time in our world, and people are in their root and they're afraid. So I really want you, I've been getting so many comments, my friends aren't my friends, she turned her back on me, da-da-da-da-da. People are afraid. And when people are in their root, it is so hard to do anything like meaningful, or like when you're trying to survive,
That's all you can do.
you can't think of like,
That's all you can do.
you can't think of friendships and all that other stuff. So the main thing I really want you to take from today is, even though I'm saying it's really going to be about finding who your friends are and stuff, don't take it personal, okay?
Yeah.
Like, don't. Like, these people are just going through a really hard time. This is just, shit is just going crazy, And I'm so sorry if you feel super alone and you're losing your friends or whatever, but you have us. You can always message us on Spiritworks or Witches of 3. And just know that.
And also, don't get offended if we
Just
don't
don't
answer right away either, because
yeah.
we're all going through a collective trauma. But we always
will
get
answer,
to you.
yeah.
We always get to you. We have a huge circle of people. We know lots of people. So if you need help with specific things, you
Yeah.
need access to help or organizations that can help you with specific things. Like, we have all of that.
Yes.
We want to work on the whole collective.
We do, and we just have to understand that everyone's having a hard time right now. So you have to give everybody time, and you really have to not take stuff personally. And I will stress so much. The only way I really learned that was from reading this book, which Michelle is going to lead us through. So please sign up for that, because everyone needs that at this time. So yes, you will find out who your people are, because we're going through stuff. But I just want to stress: don't take it personally. Just don't take it personally. Yeah. Also, February is another crazy astrological event, because we are going to have 7 planets in Aquarius at the same time.
That's my opposite.
And a big asteroid. Yeah, Shanna's a Leo sun, so she's going to get hit. I have a lot of Leo placements, and Michelle has them in important parts. So the idea is, January 30th, Mercury moved into retrograde Aquarius. February 1st, Venus will finally go into Aquarius. So February 11th is the new moon, and that is when it's all just going to get really impactful and powerful. This new moon is considered the Lunar New Year for most people, and so when the moon moves in to Aquarius itself, so the new moon is usually always in the sun sign at that time. So you want the sun and the new moon for that energy going forward. That's why we plan our intentions at that time. It's because the sun and the moon are together. Yeah. So it's ego and moon. It's ego and emotions, and we can go forward. And so the full moon is at the exact opposite of that. So this new moon puts 7 planets plus the asteroid. If you follow, I'm like really getting into asteroid astrology. It's so intense. Nice. Asteroid astrology is so intense. But I'm so obsessed with the fact that we have 7 on February 11th, the new moon will have 7 planets in Aquarius. The sun, moon, Venus, Mercury will be retrograde, Jupiter and Saturn, and then plus the asteroid Pallas Athena. Ooh. She is Athena. She is the indicator of intelligence, wisdom, and healing. And that's why everyone's super excited about this new moon. Besides the fact that there's 7 planets in Aquarius, and we haven't had that since 1962, the height of the civil rights movement. And
to Athena.
Everyone's super excited, though, because Athena's guiding this one. She is guiding this one.
Countdown time, bitch.
So
waiting on you.
So, if I can, in a nutshell, say what I kind of predict for this, we're probably going to get some stimulus stuff. There's going to be some money. Protection. There's going to be some government spending on the community. Yeah. We're going to see some stuff in that.
But what's the under thing, Kyla? The one thing you won't want to say right now.
What thing?
What happens? Like, what are we seeing? Female power rising?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So, not...
I'm sorry.
No, I would love to say this. I just haven't figured out to say this. With Athena and this asteroid coming in with this Aquarius energy, also with the aspects that I see for the full moon in March, female power will rise.
So we're talking about politics here. We're seeing
power.
Females coming into big power. We already know in the United States we're seeing it with Kamala, but also other places in the world, female leaders are rising.
Yes. Smell my hand. It smells amazing.
Damn, this smells good.
It's right there.
It's right here.
Okay, I'm going to take some of that. Sorry, I'm getting like, I'm going to...
I like getting too
hot.
I pushed her to get hot.
I am going to try to find a way to like constantly talk about my weird astrology predictions. Because not to talk shit, but they were really on point last year.
Yeah, she's the bomb.
So I'm really excited for this year. I know females are on the rise for 2021, not just in the U.S., all in the world. So if it doesn't happen in the U.S. by the Libra full moon in March, it will be somewhere in the world. But It looks pretty fucking likely that someone in the U.S.
US.
It's here.
So
It-
we have been
Listen.
putting the cards on the table about this since last year this time. We have been looking at every time
Yeah,
we
I've
get
been
to that
studying this
card,
shit. This is my
we
shit.
see the female coming into leadership, okay?
And honestly, Camilla Harris, her chart, like,
Says it.
you look like any astrology, like, you could talk to me about this. Her chart says, like, this, she's the first female president. Like, all of this shit that's really going on is in her 12th house. That's karma. That's spiritual. This is spiritual work for her.
Yeah.
And this is not, like, my politics and stuff. This is just looking at her astrology.
Right.
For some reason, there's some spiritual reason that she is where she
she's
is
at.
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is not worldly
Yeah.
shit. This is spiritual work.
She's got, like, when I see her, though, like, she